The last train. In a small northern town, there was an old railway station. Long ago, it had been full of life. Dozens of trains passed through it every day. But after a new railway line was built, the station was abandoned. The tracks began to rust. The building slowly fell apart. And eventually people forgot about it. Almost. Because among the locals, a strange legend remained. They said that once a year, on the night of November 1st, a train arrived at the station. The same train that had disappeared many years ago. According to official records in 1958, night train number 27 departed on its usual route. More than 100 passengers were on board, but it never reached its destination. No crash site was ever found, no wreckage, no bodies. The train simply vanished, as if it had disappeared into the night. Most people dismissed the story as an urban legend. That was until 2004. A group of college students decided to investigate the rumors for themselves. They arrived at the abandoned station shortly before midnight. At first, nothing happened. An empty platform, rusting tracks, cold wind, only silence. Then, exactly at midnight, everything changed. A sound echoed from the distance, the metallic rhythm of train wheels, even though no active railway line existed there anymore. The sound grew louder and louder, until a train emerged from the thick fog. It looked old, far too old, as if it had come straight from the 1950s. Dim lights glowed behind its windows. The doors remained closed, and painted on the side of one of the cars was the number 27. The train slowly came to a stop beside the platform. No one stepped off. No one stepped on. The students moved closer, and then they saw the passengers. People sat quietly in their seats. Men in old-fashioned suits. Women dressed in clothing from another era. Children. Elderly passengers. All staring straight ahead. Motionless. Like mannequins. One of the students pointed his flashlight toward the nearest window. And then something strange happened. Several passengers slowly turned their heads toward him at exactly the same time, as if they had heard something or sensed his presence. That was when the students noticed another detail. The windows were covered with condensation, and on every pane of glass were handprints, pressed against the inside. Hundreds of them. As if the passengers had spent years trying to get out. The train remained there for only a few minutes. Then a long whistle echoed through the night. The doors never opened. The train began to move, slowly disappearing back into the fog, just as suddenly as it had appeared. The students were convinced they had captured something extraordinary. But when they reviewed their recordings the next morning, they found something impossible. The cameras had recorded the platform, the tracks, the fog, and their own reactions. But the train itself wasn't there. Not in a single frame. It was as if it had never existed at all. Months passed. The story slowly faded from memory. Each of the students searched for a logical explanation for what they had witnessed. None of them found one. Then one day, one of the students received a letter. There was no return address. Inside was an old train ticket, yellowed with age, for train number 27. It looked as though it had been sitting somewhere for decades. The student turned the ticket over and looked at the departure date, October 31st, 1958, the exact night the train disappeared without a trace.